What is up, guys? My name is Lex, back here at a somewhat familiar space for this vlog, Best Bet in Jacksonville. I've been making my way back down to South Florida after I drove to Texas on a road trip. I went to Houston for one day. I went to Beau Rivage in Mississippi, my first time ever playing there. It was a lot of fun. Played some 1-3 uncapped poker. I drank some wine, got some good food. Me and Rogue walked along the beach, and then I made my way here to Jacksonville last night. I'm here for 2 more nights, playing a 25, 50, 100 game tonight. Started with a $20,000 buy-in. Game looks good. Should be some big action. Hopefully some big pots going my way. We will see. Let's get down to the table. Let's get to the action. Let's go. I'm usually pretty nervous and excited heading in to play a big live stream, but today I don't really have any nervousness coming in to this session. I'm mostly just excited given the fact that I've played some bigger live streams the past couple days. I feel very comfortable at this location, and I've played a decent amount of hands with a couple of these players at the table. Buy in for $20,000 and immediately I get dealt in pocket queens. This is the second hand of the stream, and the only hand I play with a $100 straddle isn't on. So I raised to 200, call from the cutoff, call from the big blind, and middle set for me. Ace, queen, 6 with a flush draw. Now, if I knew my opponent in the cutoff flopped a pair and a flush draw, I would bet bigger than 1/3 size of the pot. But with a middle set here, I feel like it's a pretty standard play. I make it $200, and only the cutoff comes along with a call. He's got a big hand. He's got the 10 high flush draw and a pair. We go to the turn, which is the 9 of spades. I still have the nuts here. I mean, yes, he could have pocket aces. Just highly doubt he's going to be just flat calling that pre-flop. So I'm going to continue with a big bet. I slide out $1,500. That's an over pot size bet. I feel like this bet is good considering that I don't block him from having any 2 pairs with ace 6 or ace 9. He could have a set of 6s, and if he has a big flush draw and straight draw, he'll probably call that bet, which he does. Big pot brewing over $4,000 in the middle to the final card, which is the 5 of hearts. I love this card. I mean, it only changes things if he has something like 7, 8 of clubs. But other than that, our hand, if it was best on the turn, it's still best on the river. He's got around $3,000. I glance over to make sure he doesn't have any big chips behind, which he doesn't. I think it's a pretty standard play to go all in, so that's what I do. He just has a 6 and lets his hand go just like that. Take down a nice pot with his set. Our first hand here at Jacksonville Best Bet. One could say I'm the Dr. Seuss of poker, making rhymes and spitting lines. In this hand, early position raises. I call it the suited ace, which I think is fine. We continue to 3 community cards where no bets are placed. I start to think to myself, was this hand just a complete waste? The 4 of hearts comes in on the turn, changing my stance and giving me hope. But when the initial raiser bets big multi-way, I actually consider folding like a dope. I can't fold a pair, so I call 500. And only 2 of us remain. The river doesn't help me. I question, should I bluff or refrain? I check back my small pair and lose to a slightly bigger one. It's still early, my friends. The battle has just begun. Moving on, button raises to 400, small blind calls 400. I call in the straddle with 4-3 suited, 3 ways to jack 7-4. Action checks all the way around. Turn card 10 of diamonds, bringing me a flush draw and a pair. Small blind now leads out for 600, around half the size of the pot. I make the call, button folds, and river gives me 2 pair with a 3. My opponent checks over to me. I feel like a lot of the time he's going to have a 10x hand or a jack-x hand. And this opponent doesn't seem like he likes to fold very often, so I fire out a pot-sized bet of $2,400. As you can see, he's got top pair, top kicker. He thinks for a little bit of time and pays me off, winning close to $3,000 in this hand, hitting 2 pair on the river. Same situation back to back. Button opens to 400, small blind calls 400. I look down now at a better hand, pocket kings. Nice, $23,000 in my stack. Both of my opponents are incredibly deep stacked. I will be out of position. I make it $2,000 to go. Button calls 2K. Small blind calls 2K. And just like that, we've got $6,000 in the middle. Going 3 ways again to a queen high board with a diamond flush draw. This game is big. Already $6,000 in the middle with over $20,000 to play for. I think in a 3-bet pot on this board, I'm just going to want to stack off. I mean, we could be losing to pocket 9s or pocket 5s, but we're beating all queen X hands. We're beating all flush draws and straight draws. So I bet out $2,500. I get a fold from pocket fours and a fold from ace deuce suited. $4,000 of profit in this hand, cruising along almost a $28,000 stack now. I get a little tricky in this next hand when I raise in the cutoff with king jack offsuit. Wolf makes the call in the third blind, the $100 straddle. I flop top pair and decide to check this one back. Turn card 9 of spades, he checks to me again. Now I'm going to start betting. I make it $400 and he makes a call. River card 7 of hearts. It does bring in the flush, but given the fact that I checked back the flop, I think if I bet here, I can get called by all queen X hands, all worse king X hands, and maybe even an unbelieving 9X hand. I bet out $1,100 and get snap called. When he snap calls me, I'm a little worried he could have me beat, but when I show my cards, he flicks his cards back and forth and mucks them. King jack versus king 10. On a king high board, we were able to get 2 streets of value. I would say that is pretty good. Another $2,000 worth of profit going my way. Almost a $30,000 stack now. I get into an interesting spot on the flop in this next hand. Lee races from early position to 300. Greg calls in the hijack. I call on the button with king 5 of diamonds, a hand that I would only call from 2 positions, either the button or closing the action in the straddle. Obviously, king 5 of diamonds can be dominated by all other kings, but in position, multi-way, I think it's a hand I could call with. Also could flush over flush people as well. And also, I could flop trips. Queen 5-5, 5 ways to the flop. That sounds pretty good. Now the small blind leads right out for $450 into all these players. Lee, the initial raiser, calls $450, and now Greg in the hijack calls $450 as well. I look over at the small blind who's got around $2,200 remaining. The pot is almost $3,000 already. Should I slow play and just call with my trips, or should I put in a raise right away? Well, I think it's very possible that Lee could have a hand like aces, kings, ace queen, king queen that he's most likely not going to fold to a raise. So I decided to fast play here and raise to $2,100. A little bit of an unconventional line, but I just don't think Corey's ever folding top pair either with his stack size behind. And I think a lot of people, if they flop trips, would slow play in this situation. A lot of people may think that I would slow play trips on a queen 5-5 rainbow board. So if I raise with trips, maybe my opponents won't believe me and call me down a little bit lighter. As you can see, Corey's got top pair king kicker with his stack size. Pretty easy jam all in for him, but he makes a great fold. Lee makes the fold as well with top pair, and Greg folds pocket tens. And now I'm kicking myself after rewatching the footage. I had all 3 of my opponents basically drawing dead. I didn't get any more value with my trips, and of course, being results oriented, I could have just called and I most likely would have gotten more money out of Corey, Lee, or Greg, or all 3 of them. But you never know what could happen. You never know what could come out on the turn. I think my play is fine. However, I just really don't have any bluffs in that situation, so maybe not the happiest the way I played that hand, but another profit, another pot going my way. I've got the Jungle Man bucket hat on and raise ace queen. I end up turning top pair, betting my opponent's folding, which puts me to an all-time record for this session of a $32,000 stack. I told you guys I was in the game for $20,000. That is a profit of $12,000. I basically won every single pot that I played so far, which is the complete opposite of my high-stakes debut in Austin, Texas, playing at the Lodge just a few days ago, where I lost over $52,000. But I got back $9,000 the day before this in Houston. I'm up $12K so far today with 90 minutes left in the stream. Maybe getting our $52K back won't take as long as I thought it would. The opposite ends up happening though, where I spend the next 30 to 45 minutes just getting trash cards, raising some small pots and losing, going through the blinds and losing my straddles and big blind and small blind, and my $32,000 stack shrinks down to a $27,000 stack. I haven't played a hand in almost half an hour, so when I look down at 8-7 suited, under the gun, I raised to $300. I get 4 callers, so we are 5 ways to a 6-7-8 2-heart board, giving me top 2 pair. Although my hand is very strong, this board is very dangerous, very connected. A bunch of straights, there are some sets, so with top 2 pair, I don't want to go too crazy multi-way. Greg now leads out for $1,000 into a $1,500 pot. Given the fact that this shows a lot of strength, I decide to just call, also because I have a lot of players left behind me who are pretty deep stacked. Lee makes the call on the button, and we are now 3 ways to the 3 of spades on the turn, where Greg continues to fire for a $3,000 bet, leaving himself with around $2,900 left to play for. This pot is getting huge, $7,500 in the middle, and my options are call this $3,000 or maybe put in a raise. Now, let's think back to what happened on the flop. Greg bet into 4 other players. He got 2 callers and then now continues to bet again on this blank 3 of spades. He is showing a ton of strength by continuing to bet this turn. He's representing hands like straights, sets, but it is Greg. Greg's a pretty wild player. He could easily have a pair plus flush draw. He could just have a flush draw. He could have an overpair. He could have a pair and a straight draw. So I think versus Greg, a raise is fine to try to isolate him in position with my strong holding. If he's got me beat, he's got me beat. But the problem is, I've got Lee left to act behind me on the button, who's got over $20,000 to play for. What happens if I raise here and Lee re-raises me? Or what happens if I raise and Lee jams all in? I don't really want to put myself in that situation. I'm already basically pot committed versus Greg, but I'm somewhat pot controlling versus Lee on the button. So with all that being said, I elect to just call $3,000. Lee folds, and the final card is the 2 of hearts. Not my favorite card because this brings in the flush, but with the pot size and his stack size behind, when he jams all in, I snap call his bet and get shown a flush. Ugh, man. I was up the entire night on the stream. I was cruising along, winning small to medium-sized pots. I play the biggest pot of my night on one of the last hands of the night, $16,000 in the middle, and it does not go my way. Greg got there with a flush, and all of my profit is now gone. I'm back down to a $20,000 stack. 4 hours of work gone in an instant. Pretty tilting. This hand, though, pretty much plays itself. Greg had been having a pretty tough night. I believe he was in the game for over $50,000. So once he flopped that king-high flush draw, even with 17 crowbars and a bag of dynamite, I don't think I could have gotten him off that king-high flush draw. Even if I would have raised a flop or put him all in on the turn, I just don't think he's ever folding. So either way, we lose money here. Just kind of bad variance, a little bit bad luck, and that concludes the stream. 5 hours of high-stakes poker here in northern Florida at Best Bet in Jacksonville. Swingy night, at one point up over $12,000 and ending with a small, tiny loss. All right, guys, that is it for this one. I've been traveling for over a week now. I've been playing a lot of live streams. Played 2 live streams at the lodge. The next day I played a live stream in Houston. Then I drove to Mississippi, got into Jacksonville last night, and played a live stream today. $25, $50, $100, $20,000 buy-in. Things were going very well right off the bat. I was winning hands. I was making hands, 2 pairs, flushes, all sorts of hands, sets. I was getting paid off, and at one point I was up $12,000. So I was looking to potentially have a big $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 day, which would really kick in the dent from that disgusting $52,000 loss I had at the lodge. But unfortunately, just couldn't quite run pure the entire session. I went a little card dead at the end, and when you're playing 3 blinds and it's a big game, you're gonna lose a little bit of money if you don't play any hands for a couple orbits. And then lost that big hand there at the end, flopped top 2 pair. My opponent let out with a flush draw, bet again, went all in on the river. I guess I could fold my 2 pair on the river when the flush gets there, but against that player type for that bet size with my hand strength, I just don't think I should ever fold. He could have some bluffs there. He can have some worse 2 pairs. He can also have some overvalued hands that I'm beating. So I just don't think I'm ever going to fold 2 pair. And I ended up losing like a 15K pot there at the end. And my $12,000 profit went down to minus $475 on the day. So at one point I was up $12,000, ended up losing $475. I mean, I guess it could have been worse, right? I guess it could have been a 20K loss, 30K loss. This is only just a couple days after losing 52K at the lodge. So if it seems like I'm still a little bit raw, if it seems like I'm still a little bit emotional from losing 475, it's because I just lost over $50,000 like 3 days ago. So I know to you guys it seems like it's been a couple weeks, but for me it's only been a couple days. But one thing I did decide to do today, something that I've been contemplating for a while, as you guys know, the internet is a pretty toxic place. The internet is a pretty negative place, and especially when it comes to poker, there's a lot of negativity on the internet when it comes to poker, either how people play, fighting, bickering, disagreeing about hands, about controversy, about all sorts of stuff. Poker in general is just a very negative, toxic world, especially when you put yourself out there on the internet like I do, like I've been doing for the last 3 years. I put myself out there, 250 plus videos of me playing poker, me winning, me losing. I show every hand I play, I show every big spot I play, I show my mistakes, I show when I win, I show when I lose. And honestly, it's kind of become a little bit too much. It is starting to get to me too much that I'm going to have to pull away. And when I say pull away, I don't mean make less content. I mean, I'm going to have to detach myself from all that involves being a YouTuber, maybe in other realms where you engage with your clientele, where you engage with people. I swear the past couple months or year, or even more than that, either Twitter, either Instagram, or YouTube comments or live stream chat, there's just so much negativity towards me, and it's just really bad. It's not healthy. It's not good. The toxicity is not good for me. There's just not a lot of positivity. It's a lot of negativity, and I just don't need that. I don't need to go into my comment section and just see a bunch of hateful, negative, annoying comments from people who I don't even know because their names aren't even on there. They don't have a profile picture. It's a crazy world we live in with the internet. I mean, I put myself into this. I put myself out there by making videos. When a lot of people hide behind a screen, a lot of people don't put themselves out there, a lot of people don't showcase their wins and losses. I've been doing that for the past 3 years, and it's gotten me to where I'm at, but it's just become too much, and I don't want to deal with the negativeness anymore. So I decided that I'm going to detach myself from social media more, and I'm going to detach myself from the comment section of either live streams I play or even the videos that I make. So instead of going through and reading all the comments like I've been doing for the past 3 years, I'm going to have someone, either my dad or a friend, go through my comment section and then pick out the comments that are meaningful and that are positive or questions, and screenshot those and let me see them and get back to those specific people. I'm just tired of seeing comments of, "You're scared money, you shouldn't be playing these stakes, you're a nit, you're terrible at poker, go back." You know, I just don't need that. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's just become too much. Same with Twitter. There's so much negativity on Twitter. I'm detaching myself from all of it. I'm going to post good content. I'm going to have someone regulate my comment section and then get back to me with the comments that are necessary for me to see. All the other bullshit, all the other hateful stuff, all the other negative stuff, I'm just not going to engage with anymore. I decided that today. So anyway, interesting stream, still a little bit tilting that I couldn't book a win, but it was a great table. A lot of action, a lot of money. I'm very thankful to be able to play in these kind of games. I just wish I could run a little bit better and book a large win, but I think it's coming. I mean, I'm due for a big win, right? I've lost some huge pots and I've lost in a lot of big sessions playing high stakes poker, so I'm due for a big win. Big thanks to Best Bet Jacksonville. Thanks to all the players who played the game, the dealers, the staff, everyone here. They did a great job. I'm excited to come back tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please like, comment down below, and subscribe. Trying to get to 65,000 subscribers. I'm about at 61,000, so we're almost there. Until next time, I'll see ya.